Hello crafters, Bernadette from B-Creatrix here. Welcome to NSD 2022 class number 11. You guys must be tired by now. For those that's watching today, I hope you have all your BioPlus and all your eats in for the last stretch of today. Those that's watching later, enjoy and hope you're having fun in this class. Today's class is about going off the page and then back on the page. Now, off the page or OTP is something that is three-dimensional. A lot of scrappers prefer flat pages. That's up to you. You can do what you want. I like some dimension. My motto is the earth is not flat, so why should my scrapbook pages be flat? Scrapbookers, their main aim is to do memory keeping. I do a lot of scrapbooking. I've got albums full, and some of my pages, depending on what I'm doing, is very flat. Others I need some dimension. This little memory box that we're going to make today, the reason why I made this is when my kids were born, and that is 29 years ago, my firstborn, my son was born. I kept all their little bands that went around their wrists and everything. I've got some of their first haircuts, and this box is like 30 years old. And you can see what it looks like, and I've decided this is not working for me anymore. It was stashed away in a box somewhere. I need to scrap this and I need to put this somewhere. So I've made, for the sample, I've made the first page for my daughter, and I'm going to open this so that you can see there is her little bracelets. I'm going to put it a bit closer, and it can close. I used magnets and I added this little thing to open it easier. So this class is in two parts. Part one is to make this little box, the memory box, and part two is when I want to put it in my album sleeve. How do I do this? Because it's interactive and you want to be able to open it without taking your page out of your sleeve. The class is not just for scrapbookers, so the challenge is not going to be just to make a scrapbook page. I am going to show you how I used this. This was made with Wild and Free C120, Fab Scrap C120 Wild and Free. This one I did not cut out because it's just a frame, and as you can see, it's very dimensional and it very much fits into my album sleeve. And it's in my album. I do have an interactive little book here, but because I can reach it here, I did not do any cutouts on my sleeve. So planning your page when you do dimensional or off the page to add to your scrapbook pages is very important. Where do you put it and how can I access it if it's an interactive design? This class can also be for those that do art journaling, for those that do mini albums. This one I made, and I'm going to put this on another album, and I've made this with Ciao Bella's my first year. And in here, I've added a little thing there to get it out, are all the milestone notes. So I'm going to do this for the milestones. So this can be kept as a little keepsake for your children, or you can also add it to a book. Then this class for art journaling, if you want to make something like this to put your ATCs in, if you need different sizes and you don't know how to calculate how to create the different sizes, this one I created specifically to fit ATC size. So for those that do art journaling, you can make a little book like this to keep all your ATCs in. So it's a nice little keepsake that you can keep on your desk somewhere, and you can have a look at your ATCs. For the people that do mini albums, I'm going to bring this monster in here. This is my mini album that I created using the same box design that I used in the front. And it's got lights in, and I've got a little box here that can switch light in. I've got a video on this that I will post on Facebook. So those that do mini albums, I created this box, and in the album itself, I'm going to put this to the side, and in the album itself I also used it, and here's another box as a little, also a little pop-up. This is supposed to pop up, but the elastic is old. I need to find another way. So this will pop up where I can add more photos and things. It's just a little surprise element. So this class is for anybody. You don't have to put it on a scrapbook page. You can use it in any of your projects and upload it. Remember to upload your photos of your project that you completed in the album for class number 11. So we're going to start making this. I did not adhere this yet to my page. So part 2 of this class is how I'm going to do it. So don't put it on your page yet. You're going to plan where you're going to put it, and we are going to cut out our album sleeve so that this is interactive. I want to be able to open it while it's in my sleeve. So let's get going to make the little memory box. And for mine, I use the Fab Scraps Hello I'm New collection. Also, the aim of NSD is to use what you have and to apply the techniques that you've learned. And I've decided I'm going to go with what I have, and this is one of my very, very favorite collections from Fab Scraps. So I have used the 8x8 pad, and as I said, you need at least one sheet that is non-directional. I'm going to use this one for my box, so I'm going to make it the same as this one, the dots, that's non-directional, and I will be using this for my cover. This can be directional for your cover, and then these pages I'm going to use and add it to my scrapbook page. So this I will do later. I'm going to use this one now to show you how we're going to do that. So let's put that aside. I'm going to get to closures just now. When we do the closure, I will show you the different ways of doing the closure of your box. So I'm going to the first thing that I need to do is I need to cut this down to 8 by 7 inches. If you need conversion to centimeters, please pop me a message here on YouTube or on the NSD page under my class. I will convert for you to centimeters. I prefer to work in inches because the papers are all measured in inches. I just work better in inches. So my very first thing is that I know it's already 8 inches by 8 inches. So I'm just going to cut down one side to 7 inches. You will see a lot of Cricut tools and Fab Scraps. I'm an ambassador for Cricut and for Fab Scraps, and I just love their products. I'm using the Hunky Dory scoreboard, adorable scoreboard. I love it, but you can use any scoreboard. I'm going to remove my mat. We want to be on our scoreboard. So what you're going to do now is you are going to score all 4 sides. So we're going to do the first side, and I'm going to score at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inch. So we're going to make 4 score lines on each side. We're going to make 4 score lines, rotate, 4 score lines, rotate, and so we're going to go. So you can start at any side. And I want to bring my template in here so that you can see. Let me just get the focus. this is what you're going to end. All the black is your score lines that we're going to go do now. Just ignore the red for now. We're going to do all the black score lines. I'll show you to do that now. So let's first do our scoring. So we're going to go 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5, and 2. Gonna rotate. We're gonna go 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5, and 2. I'm gonna go again 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5, and 2. And then again 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5, 2 inch. So you should have all your score lines done now. Now we're going to do this part. So you want to score, if you're making a rectangle box, the best way to do your small scores will be on your 2 short sides. If it's a square, it does not matter where you're going to put these little squares. I just found it better to do my cutouts on the shorter sides. It just looks better, and I'm going to show you on here. It is to create these little things, and it will then look like a real frame. So we're going to take it on my shorter side, my 7-inch side. I'm going to score at 2.5 inches, but I'm only going to score up until the second horizontal square line, horizontal score line, sorry. So I'm going to score down there, and on this side you will see now I've got that last score line from the other side is on 5. So I'm going to score 1 inch in, and it's going to be on 4.5 inches. I'm just going to score for the first 2 blocks. Then I'm going to turn it all the way around to score the other short side. So I'm going to again on 2.5 score just the first 2 blocks, and then on 4.5 just the first up until the second line. So you should have now this part, those 2 score lines and those 2 score lines. So let me do it. So you should have your score lines there and all your other score lines. So now we're going to cut on the red part. So you're literally going to cut these little blocks away. So you're going to cut down those 2 lines, go across from that corner to that corner. On my second score block, let's call it that way, I'm going to go across diagonally, and then 1 down again, and then across all 4. The same on this side. I'm going to go cut down that little score line for the first 2 lines, cut across, 1 down, and all the way to the side. So let's cut that quickly. So on this paper it's going to be very difficult to see. That's why let me keep my template here so that you can keep the template in the background. So I'm going to cut down the first 2. Then I'm going to turn it to cut diagonally, and let me just see that I am in focus. I'm going to cut from this corner to that corner, and I'm going to cut from here down again. And then I'm going to cut all the way, get there, cut all the way out. And these little pieces I usually keep, I put it through my cuttlebug to make little flowers to go with my layout. Once you put it through your cuttlebug, you won't see those score lines. Again, this side, I'm going to go 2 down. Stop at the second line, stop there at the second line, go across from that corner. So you must just make sure it's right in the corner from that corner to that corner, just line your scissors up, cut to that corner, go one down again, and then cut this piece off. I prefer to take it from this side, then I don't have to struggle in that corner. And then on this side again, I'm going to go down two on that small little score line, line my scissors up to the corner, just cut to the corner, one down, and all the way out. And my last one, on my score line, cut two down, align my scissors across that little block, go down one again, and cut all the way across the 4 score lines on the side. So you will end up with something like this. I've got my 4 score lines here. I've got 2 short ones, one that's got the angles on the sides and a straight, and the same the other side. So now we're going to fold on all the score lines. So let me put the template down. So we're going to just fold and burnish all the score lines. If you're using quite a thick cardstock to make this, a trick to make sure that you fold very straight is to put a ruler down on your line, fold it a bit, and then you can burnish it. This paper is not that thick, so it's very easy to score and fold. What I do is I make sure that my lines are straight there before I score. And we're going up before I burnish. And then this one, make sure it's straight, and I'm going to burnish. So you will burnish all your score lines. Make sure they're nice and crisp. And there I've got everything scored. So you'll see our box is starting to take shape. The last thing that I want to do before we assemble is, because we're cutting by hand, if you hold it like this, you will see sometimes you cut not exactly in the middle of the score line, or you cut a bit to the left or a bit to the right. What I then do is just clean up those corners. So I will take my scissor, align it, don't cut this fold, just make sure you cut it and just get that exactly straight. So I will do that on all my corners just to make sure that they are nice and straight. This one, when you fold it, it makes those little things. I'm a bit of a OCD, so I like to make sure all my corners are crisp and straight. So let's just take it from this side and see this one is a little bit over. That just makes sure that your box is really nice and crisp at the corners. So you can now, before you assemble, you can start putting you can do another background here. So on this one, I added another background. So you want to cut it. If you measure, so this is just to help you when you make other sizes, fold it in so you can see what the inside size is going to be. And this is going to be 3 by 4. So I want to cut a piece that is going to go in here, and make sure you know which way, if your box is going to be this way or that way, if you're going to use a directional paper here. So I want to cut a little background using this, So I'm going to cut it just a little bit smaller. You don't have to cut it exactly 3 by 4. So my height is going to be 4, and I want to cut it here to 4. And I'm going to go this one just a little bit smaller than 4 because my frames are going to go over it. So you don't have to take it from corner to corner on the inside. I just want a little bit smaller than 4 and a little bit smaller than 3. And you can decide what you want to display in the middle. I'm just going to go from the side. I like the little hippo that's going to peep out there from the side. My scoreboard away again. And then I'm going to stick. I use wet glue that is non-tacky. It dries clear. I prefer wet glue. You can do this with your tape, your double-sided tape, whatever you want. I use this art glitter, dries clear. I buy them in the bigger boxes, bigger bottles, and then I just decant into my small one with my fine tip. When we're going to assemble, it's very important that you have a wet glue. These two are also very nice dries clear glue that's non-tacky. When you assemble, and I usually mess a bit with my glue, then I don't have all these sticky bits and sitting somewhere and it sticks to everything. So there is my inside. Now the next important thing is now we're first going to plan the closure. I am going to use again magnets for this one. If you're going to use, so there's different ways of making closures. You can absolutely not have anything and just make it closed, but if you're going to put it in an album and you cut it out, it will flap up and down. So you can either use magnets. I use those tiny magnets for these small things, or you can use Velcro dots. So I will tell you where to put your Velcro dots, or if you're going to do some ribbon, that we will do once we've done the closure. So I'm going to do my ribbon at the end if you're going to do ribbon. But if you're going to do magnets, you are going to put it on the inside before you assemble. If you're going to do your Velcro dots, you're going to put it on the outside of the frame also before you assemble. So to do the magnets, I'm going to show you. So you want to put your magnets, if you're going to close it from left to right, you're going to put it on your right hand side on the inside in the second score line. The reason why it goes in the second score line is this is going to fold all the way in like this. So there on the side is my first score line, there is my second score line. So now you don't worry about the positive and negative poles. When we make the closure, we will align the positive and the negative poles for the magnet. So I am going to put 2 magnets down on this one. If you're going to do Velcro, I'll show you now where you're going to put your Velcro. So I'm just first going to put just where I want my magnets there, and I'm going to close it like that. And I'm going to put another one here. And I'm going to use my very tiny magnets. I love these. They are so small but extremely strong, as you can see. So I'm going to get one magnet off, get my picky tool, just had to quickly see if the recording is still happening. Put one magnet there. For those that do have their Cricut, I will put this template down, share it on Cricut Design Space as well. I'll make it available. You can use your Cricut to cut and score this one. So there's my magnets that I've placed. inside within my second score line. If you are going to use Velcro dots, they will go, if you fold it in, now I just don't want that to stick. Let me first put my sticky tape over before I fold it in. So if you're going to do your Velcro dots, you will put it on the outside, wherever you want to put it. Now with these Velcro dots, just make sure you do them a little bit and don't close it too hard, because it's going to be very difficult then to open your project. Once you've done your closure and you've got a few layers, it will be strong enough to pull it apart, and you will put one of your sides. So you can decide what side you want to put this side, and you're going to put it on the second, in the second score line on the outside. What I do with my Velcro dots is I staple them. If you can color your staple a bit, it will give it another, you know, just another effect, if rather than just a plain staple. So I staple them because sometimes the glue does come off. These Velcro dots are quite strong. So you will put your two Velcro dots on the, if you fold it in, on the outside. For the ribbon, if you're going to do ribbon closure, we will do it a bit later. So now I've got my magnets on the inside. I'm now going to assemble my box. The very first sides that you're going to do is my straight sides. You want to use a good quality wet glue for this. So you're going to fold it, the first one in. I'm going to glue on this one. This is the easiest way. You can go and try and get it in, but this is for me the easiest way. Fold it down so you've got two score lines showing. So I've glued the first score line, first score block. I fold it over so that there's two blocks there, and I fold it this way again just to make sure it's a nice square. And there I've got my first side of my frame. Going to do the same on this side. And fold it in for two score lines, burnish, fold it that way, and there I've got my two sides. Easy peasy up to now. Now you think this is going to be very tricky. It is not going to be tricky. What you need to do on this one, I'm going to glue again on my first score section. And then you also want to score on these diagonal lines so that your frame sticks nicely over there. And I'm going to score on that diagonal little piece. Not score, glue. So fold it a little bit more back, and now I'm going to put it in there. Let me show you. Put it in there, roll it around, and I'm going to make sure that this part is nice and square. And you want to hold it a bit so that the glue can set. And I usually take it from the side to make sure that this line is also nice and straight, and just hold it a bit like that until the glue sets, so that I can may I have a nice, really crisp frame here at the corners. That should be fine. And I just don't push too hard, otherwise you're going to indent it. That should hold. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on this side. Fold this in on my first score section. I'm going to glue. And again on my triangular part, I'm going to glue there. And I'm going to glue here. And there I have my box, and all I need now is a closure. To do the closure, you can do very exact measurements, but I'm going to show you the best way to get a very nice fit closure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that piece that was left over. Now you can decide if you want your closure to be the exact size of my box. I want to have it straight, or like this one, you want to have it with a little edge. This one I created with a little edge. Let me just turn it so you can see it is got a little edge. When I close it, it's got a little thing. So that this way you don't have to put a little handle. Even if it's a little handle, I'll show you this one. It is with magnets, really easy to get it open. Once you've got like 3 layers on here, it's quite sturdy. I just love to put something on that also makes it easy to open and close. So the best way to do this, I'm going to make this one the exact same size. I want to make sure this piece is exactly 4 inches. That is the height of my box. My box is now 4 inches. So I'm going to cut down. Remember the last piece I cut a little bit less than 4, so I just need to slice a little bit off here. And I'm going to slice on this side. I want to make sure it's exactly 4 inches. And I'm just going to slice that part off. Another tip to make your blades of any of your trimmers last longer. I start in the middle and I cut a bit down and then I cut up. That way you use both sides of your blade and your blade lasts longer, opposed to as you just always going down or always going up. Just the one side of your blade goes blunt. So I do that to make sure that my blades last longer, not just the one side being worn off. So I've got it now. I know that this side is 3. So I want to know, and now you must make sure you know this is going to be my front. And it's going to wrap around like this. So I want to score my first line here on 3 inches. So I'm going to turn it upside down if you've got a directional. If you don't have any directional paper, it doesn't matter what side you start scoring. So remember, you want to make sure that you score your first score line on the right side. So I'm going to score down at 3. I'm going to fold it, and again I line up on the sides here to make sure it is really, really straight, and I'm going to burnish. Now I want to create that little fold. This side is 1/2 inch, but if you're going to do it exactly on 1/2 inch, you might find that it's a little bit tight and it doesn't fit, because it has to go, especially if your paper is quite thick, it will not go exactly around. So what I then do is I line this up, make sure it's where it should be. I then just fold it a little bit, make a pinch there where it goes in, and I'm going to line it up somewhere in one of the score lines, and I'm going to score. Just to give you that, you will see my other score line is, I don't know if it's focusing properly there, but it's just more than 1/2 inch. So I'm going to score down there, and that should fit snugly around my little box. Let's see. Let's hope I did it right. So here's my little box, and it fits snugly around there. Not too big, not too small. Now you can cut this part off. For this, you can make a mark and use your trimmer. Sometimes I just take it and line it up. These scissors are as old as the mountains, but it's one of my favorite scissors. It just feels right, it just cuts right. I sharpen it and it just keeps on going. So there is my closure. For those that's going to use ribbon for a closure, now is your time to use your ribbon. So now I'm going to use ribbon for this, and you're going to use your piece of ribbon. So I should have taken this out before the class, but I did not. To get this off now. So you are going to place your first piece of ribbon. Ooh. Your first piece of ribbon is going to be on the inside. So you want to put it on the backing, and you're going to put it down with some glue, double-sided tape, whichever way. The best to do this is double-sided tape, and you can even take some normal sellotape and sellotape it over. So you're going to put your first bit in here. So I'm going to do this just so that you can see how this will look if I close it. Well, let me just put it in there. And if I close it, my ribbon will be here, and it won't stick out the back if you're not going to use it, if you're going to use it as a gift box. That's the other idea. Those card makers, this class is also for card makers. If you make a card like this, you can totally make it a card and a gift box all in one. And you can close it now with your ribbon. So your ribbon will go on the inside, your back piece of ribbon, and you will cut it whatever length you want to make it, depending on how thick your ribbon is. For those that's doing the Velcro, you're first going to decorate your inside, and the last that you're going to do is then put your Velcros onto a line and close it the same way we're going to line the magnets. So you will not do your Velcro now, but first go and decorate that part. So I'm going to glue this down first to make sure that it is in the correct space. Now there's two ways that you can glue this. You can glue this just on the back and leave this little piece open so it opens flat. I prefer that way. Or you can glue the sides on as well, and it will open like a little book. So if you want to make like a little book type of theme, you will glue it like that. Then it will only open that. Or you can make it to open all the way. So I'm only going to glue at the back. I like when I do my scrapbooking for it to open all the way. It makes it easier. It's flat on the other side that I can go do some journaling or add my photos. So I'll first put my glue on this side. Make sure it's lined up properly, and I glue it down. And there is my closure. So now you are going to first do your magnets. So it's just doing magnets. You're first going to do your magnets, and then you're going to decorate. So just I'm going to show you how to do your magnets, that closure. Where's my magnets? And now I'm going to put it down so that the poles align, positive and a negative. So they're on there. Then I'm going to use a very small piece of tape. I want to use my thicker piece here because I want sort of a square block on there. You're going to cut just your little square block. Put it down on your magnet. Just lift your magnet, and what I then do is I take my backing off and I sort of roll this double-sided tape to make a little ball. If you've got glue dots, I do have somewhere, I just don't know where I put it. If you don't have glue dots, this is one way of doing it. Oh my goodness, no, I can't get that off. There we go. So there's my tiny little magnet. I just fold these sides in. Make sure that you've only got glue on the one side of the magnet for now. And fold it in. Quite a bit of a mess, and I'm going to put it down to a line again, and I'm going to do that for the other one. You don't have to do it like this. I try and do this, it's going to make it more bulky. So I'm going to do that one. The other way is to show you that you don't really have to make it like that if you don't want it too bulky. Just going to take my tape off. And today is a struggle, looks like it. If you don't want to make that little bulge there, just put it down, make sure that it doesn't really stick to the side. And I'm now going to close it. Make sure first my sides are nice and flush. Stick it down, and it should stick to the other side. And pull it open. There you go. So my magnets are exactly where they're supposed to be, and now you can either put a piece of double-sided tape or you can put normal sellotape over. This is just to keep it in place. See, this one is now too bulky. I've got too much tape on there. I will go and fix this afterwards. Sorry for that. I've got a too big a piece on there. This one is nice and flat, and I'm just going to put this tape over just so that while I'm closing it now, before I've got my decorations and my backing on, at least it will close and it will open. So ladies, and for those that's gentlemen here, this is part one of the class. You can now go and decorate it. I'm also going to decorate this with my also my brand new thing. What I do is I do some fussy cutting. I then put it through my laminating machine so it's really sturdy, and always keep a little extra piece here, because that little piece I am now going to glue down on this side before I do my layering or my decoration on the inside, and when I close it, it will be there. So you can decorate this any way you want. For those that want to put a brad on, I've used these very cute Fab Scraps brads. You will put your brad on, so you will first go and decorate your outside, make your hole for your brad, put your brad through, open it, and then you decorate the inside so that you cover the back of your brad. So that is part one of the class, and now we're going to go over to part two. So once you've got your little box, that is why I did not stick this one down yet, to show you how to do part two, because you don't want to stick it down yet. We're first going to mark where we need to cut our sleeve so that our box fits. So for those that's going to use this for the mini albums and not going to put it in a album sleeve, hope you enjoyed this class. Those that want to learn how to put this in your album sleeve, let's go to part two of this video. Hi everyone, so part two of class 11 is how to put an interactive OTP in my album. As I mentioned before, if you do something using this design just as a frame, no need to cut, it fits in there. And Another tip is when you have a lot of dimension, always store your album upright so that you don't squish. But this is quite, I've stored my album flat for very long times when I'm busy in my album, and it is quite sturdy. It will not just squish and collapse unless I go and sit on it, which is not impossible for me to go and sit down without looking where I sit. So you want to start off with your album sleeve. So you must decide which side you want to do. You want to go on the left or on the right. So I just want to show you, I use the C115 extravaganza as the backing for this page. My little flower, I did not add this flower yet because I'm going to do that after I've placed my box. So I'm just going to put that flower down. So you must decide which side and make sure that your where you're going to put it in the album, your little holes are on the right side. So you're going to put it in your album. What you will need is some press stick. You will need your craft knife, a steel ruler, or steel ruler is the best. And then also what you will need is a whiteboard marker, not a permanent. It must be a whiteboard marker that can wipe off, and some wet wipes or a little wet cloth just to take the marks off after we've decided where we're going to cut. So the first thing I want to do is I've got my page in my sleeve. Oh, and what you will also need is a smaller cutting mat. So I've got this one from Hunky Dory that fits into my adorable scoreboard, or this one I can put it in, it fits in my sleeve. Let me just get the sizing. So it's a smaller cutting board or self-healing mat. So you need a smaller self-healing mat that will fit into your sleeve. So the first thing I'm going to do is, what I also wanted to show you, what I use to make these little clouds. I add some embossing and things. I use this Fab Scraps stamp set. It is so adorable, and I'm going to use it to put on my photos. I also add some stamps on my photos. So I just use the clouds for now, and then once I've done my photos, I will go and stamp some more on my photos so that everything blends in. So I'm going to place my box where I want it. I'm going to add some press stick on it just to make sure. I want to put more press stick on to make sure it doesn't move. A few pieces of press stick. Make sure it doesn't move. Put it on. You can put on all four corners if you want to, and then place it where you're going to put it in your album. So your page is on the inside of the sleeve to see where you're going to place it. My box is on the outside of the sleeve. Now that is where I'm going to place it. I just want to put my flower to see is it in the right place, because I'm going to add this afterwards once I've put my box down. So I'm going to first remove my page. Now I know exactly where my box is going to be, and I'm going to insert my self-healing mat in my sleeve. I'm going to just try and not get my head in the camera. These Hunky Dory scoreboards are available from the supplier, K-Craft, so you can contact your scrapbook shop to order for you. They are absolutely amazing, these scoreboards. So I've got this in now. It's a tight fit, but it's there. So now I know this is where I need to cut. So what I'm going to do first is to mark where I need to cut. That is why I need my whiteboard marker. Now another tip is don't go mark against, because you will end up with marks on your little box. So I put my ruler down straight, and that will also give me a little bit of leeway so that it can fit in. So you don't want to make your cut in your sleeve too tight fit, so that you can still get this in. So I'm going to mark here, and the same side that's on the outside I'm going to turn around so that I don't get these marks on my box. And I'm going to mark there, and I'm going to put it that side. I don't know if I'm really seeing what I'm doing that side, but I don't want to get my head in front of the camera. Now, because this has got a little thingy here, I'm just going to open the box so that I can, and still my ink is on the outside, and I'm going to mark here. So there I've got now my marks. I'm going to put this, just want to clean it before I'm going to cut, to get all this off. You don't want any ink on it for later, when I'm going to cut later with it or use it for something else. Now I can take my box off, put it to the side, that can go off, and I'm going to take my knife blade and I'm going to cut. I didn't make that very straight. And you want to cut, make sure you cut through your sleeve. Ooh, goodness. So I am not a fan of these blades. Really very much a, okay, so just make sure it's open, put through. And then I'm going to cut this side. Make sure you cut right through so that you can have that opening. I'm making it a little bit bigger on the outside of my, oh, did it cut? Yeah, I don't have to cut again. So that I've got a little bit more space to put my little box. Cut, and the last piece. You can cut all the way up, but it's going to make your page floppy, so rather cut it down here. It will just keep that top strip, and your pages will be neater and your album will be neater. So let's see, did it come out? And there's my little piece that I've cut out. And before I'm going to do anything, I'm going to wipe all this ink off wherever I have it. Put this blade away. And I always make sure I put it in my container. I have animals and things and they climb up here, and I'm just so scared they're going to cut themselves with those. So first clean up your mat. And now I'm going to remove my self-healing mat. And I can put my page back in. Where's my page? I'm going to cut this off when I'm finished. I just kept it on so that you can see what I'm using. The Fab Scraps. This one is from the C115 Extravaganza. This is also to show you can mix and match your papers. Fab Scraps papers are so awesome. You can mix and match. I'm going to add my page so I can put my box in or glue my box down. So now I'm going to put my box in there and make sure that it lifts up everywhere, that I've cut enough. Yes, I did. This is just, the light is a little bit tricky, so I'm going to move it this way so that I'm hoping you can see. So make sure you feel that your box is inside your cut edges. I'm going to glue it down. Oh, there's still a piece of press stick. So now I'm going to glue it down. Just add a bit more this to make sure it's really stuck. Okay, make sure I've got it in here. Everything can lift. There it is. And for this, open it up. Oh, I can't believe I still have this. These were the little bangles thingies that was over there, around the ankles and the wrists. And I've kept it, and nobody can believe I've still got it. But I'm very sentimental. And there you have it, your little interactive page. Now, if I want to put my photos on, I do have this on here. So to get it out can be a bit tricky, but you are going to just wiggle it. Paper is very forgiving. I'm going to wiggle it, pull it out, and I can take my page out, pull it out like that, take my page out, put my photos, and when I'm done I can put it back in. That's not the back, so again, paper and plastic, very forgiving. Just pull it out, and there I've got my page in my sleeve, and I am done. I hope you enjoyed this class, and have fun decorating, have fun making your little memory box. I would love to see what you put in your little memory box, or if you're doing art journaling, if you're going to put your ATCs in there, card makers that's going to make this little box as a gift for somebody, or for the mini album people, what you're going to put in there. My aim for this is to teach people that OTP is for anybody. It is not just for people that make things that stand and look pretty and there's no use for it. All my OTPs are something that is useful. So I love making OTPs, but I don't like something that just stands around collecting dust and you're never going to use it again. So I do that for my memory keeping. I do it as gift boxes. And in your, I want to show you, let me grab this. If you are scared that this is gonna get dirty or anything, because it's not protected behind your sleeve, you can use some varnish and you can varnish your box. I do that when I make a gift box. Varnish your paper before you assemble, and then just flatten it. You can then flatten on the side where there's no varnish or something, but once you start scoring it, it will flatten again. So this will make your paper just curl a little bit, but I do use the liquid varnish just to make sure that I can later on come with my little wet wipe and wipe it. I also would varnish it after I've decorated, to varnish all my fussy cuts, so that I can come with my wet wipe, and if it does get dust, especially if you store it upright, there might be dust collecting there and I want to be able to wipe it off. The other thing, so that is it for this class. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I really hope you were inspired to use a little bit more dimension or OTP on your scrapbook pages, or in your mini albums, or for your art journaling or card making. It is really fun, and it's an awesome idea to give a card to somebody with a little gift in it. It's all in one. You don't have to go look for a gift box. So hope you enjoyed it. Before I say goodbye, there's another thing with those that do memory keeping and don't know how OTP comes into memory keeping. I want to show you this box that I made. It's all made from paper. It is a basket. For those who want to know how this was made, you're more than welcome, pop me a message and I will show you. So this was made for my mom when she was in hospital. She was in hospital for 9 weeks, very, very long traumatic time. And taking flowers, the flowers to stand there. I wanted to make her something to cheer her up. And I made this, and then this is little photo albums that's in there. And she can open it up and there's little things in there and there's photos in the back. So this is also how you can use OTP for memory keeping. So those scrapbookers that's always been scared of OTPs, really it's an awesome gift. My mom loved it and everybody in the hospital were in this to look at everything, and it was a very conversation starter with the nurses, and it just made my mom stay in hospital much better. So that is it for me today, crafters. Have a lovely scrapbook weekend. If you're watching this after the weekend to catch up, all the best for this next month, for all your projects that you're going to do. And a special thanks to Michelle. Thanks to all the wonderful sponsors of all these prizes that you can win. I think our South African scrapbook community is just the most amazing people on this earth. So have a lovely day. I'll see you in the next class. Bye.